Reframing Los Angeles 1992. Today, Los Angeles is a diverse city with 3.8 million people, from citizens to residents and undocumented people living in the bustling metropolitan area, vying for a chance to increase their socioeconomic status. South Central has historically been consumed, especially by the late 20th century, by a nationwide recession where unemployment rates increased dramatically in the city. One of the most historic events in Los Angeles is the uprising that occurred in 1992, which has been documented as having been rooted from the increasing economic inequality and racial tension in the region. South Central has different meanings to various people. However, it is widely accepted that this geographical space is loaded with negative connotations. During the 1930s, South Central was more racially mixed with Latinos, whites, blacks, Chinese, and Japanese. However, after the war, most of the jobs available in South Central were employed to white workers when the majority of residents were black. The disappearance of jobs for people of color increased racial disharmony and tension because of economic despair and later immigration policies. Immigration policies were put into place to minimize the number of immigrants entering the United States. In 1924, the National Origins Law restricted immigration from places outside of North and Western Europe. However, later on, the Immigration Act of 1965 removed restrictions on Asian migration, which led to the rapid growth of Korean immigrants into the United States. Segregation and inequality started from the 1960s with increasing community tensions between various racial groups. The influx of immigrants to Los Angeles created more problems for the community since foreign labor was much cheaper compared to hiring citizens. By the 1970s, Koreans in Los Angeles accounted for 63% of Koreans in the United States. This led many African Americans to feel that they were at a disadvantage because cheap foreign labor was pouring into the city. Two major events led up to the Los Angeles uprising that occurred in 1992. One of them was the Rodney King beating, and the second one was the death of Latasha Harlins. On March 3, 1991, Rodney King, a black taxi driver, was stopped by the Los Angeles Police Department for speeding on the freeway. During the process of arresting him, violence slowly escalated where bystanders captured videos of police officers beating a defenseless black man, while a group of police officers stood by. These images and videos had a global impact and sparked national outrage over police brutality towards black and other race. However, this event did not stop, and the rise of racial tension reached its peak when the verdict of the Rodney King trial was announced that the mostly white jury acquitted the four officers for excessive force, which led to civil unrest in South Central. Latasha Harlins' death had a profound effect in both the Korean and black community because Harlins, who was 16 at the time, was shot in the back of the head by Soon Ja-do. The Los Angeles Police Department concluded that Do mistaken Harlins for stealing a bottle of orange juice and did not see the money Harlins held in her hand. Soon Ja-do was able to avoid jail time because Judge Carlin believed that Do's vulnerability and victimization helped shape her decisions, which was influenced by race, class, and gender. Asians and Asian Americans as model minorities in relation to African Americans had a profound effect in how Carlin imagined Do as being more favorable compared to Harlan. The ruling by Carlin was controversial, which led to opposition by the black community as well as criticism from the Korean American community. Mayor Tom Bradley declared a state of emergency on April 29, 1992, which dispatched 2,000 California National Guard into the city. However, the Guards did not establish itself and take control of the situation in Los Angeles until more than 24 hours later after the riots started. The Los Angeles riots marked the deadliest and costliest urban riot in American history. However, the aftermath of the Los Angeles uprising affected thousands of Angelenos because 10,000 were arrested, 2,000 injured, and 63 dead. As historians, why should we reframe Los Angeles? What is the difference between using Los Angeles riots versus Los Angeles uprising? It is important to understand how the news media framed the Los Angeles uprising in order for historians and other scholars to organize facts and re-examine and redefine as to what occurred on April 29, 1992. National media headlined the civil unrest of 1992 as the Los Angeles riots, which framed this historic event as a violent reaction to racial disparities. The term riot assumes random acts of senseless violence, random chaos. This would not be sufficient to qualify and quantify the occurrences surrounding Los Angeles history during the late 20th century. As historians, when writing about this historical event, many challenges are faced because of the irreconcilable points of view that erupt from various racial groups. By reframing the uprising of 1992 as a response to systems of social injustice, long-standing systems of police brutality, racism, and socioeconomic multifaceted inequalities can be addressed. Police brutality is significant in understanding the development of the Los Angeles uprising that led to thousands of people to protest the expanding racial division in a diverse city. The Los Angeles Police Department was notorious for its racial profiling and excessive force against people of color, especially those who looked foreign. The Los Angeles uprising and the Black Lives Matter movement propelled the issue of police brutality into the national spotlight. This topic has never been so upfront in the minds of the American people. The video showing the beating of Rodney King marked a change in attitudes towards police brutality in America by confirming the tensions between Los Angeles Police Department and people of color. The video of the incident was raw and brutal, which captured the tension of Americans and enraged them. It opened the public's eye to the still very real problems of police brutality in America. The public outrage provided the motivation necessary for a change in attitudes to start. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the event, and it is time to reframe Los Angeles.